don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner, Daddy. A rebel.
Sunrise on the horizon.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome. What a beautiful day we're having in America.
Bright and early new dawn. Every headline, every story. Gives your morning some glory. Stay informed, stay tuned as the day greets new blue.
Yes. Good morning.
Headlines with Skyjack Morgan. Start your day just fine. Information for you, darling. With coffee in your cup, used to fill you right up. Cleansing weather on the go.
Yes, indeed. It's time.
Join us on this daily ride with your morning side by side. Catch the latest, feel the vibe. Sky will keep you well supplied. Good morning headlines. Skyjack Morgan. Start your day just fine. Information for you, darling.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Skyjack Morgan. I'm an independent news and culture commentator and free speech and critical thinking advocate. Welcome to the show. Welcome to America. Here we are in America, home of the free, land of the brave, sliding into fascism every day. And I can't wait to hear what happens with Bill and Hillary Clinton. Today they will be interviewed by the House Oversight Committee, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see what they've got to say. Of course, it will not be in front of the American people, because though we are really into, transparency and openness, we will not be interviewing Bill and Hillary Clinton in front of the cameras for some reason. They say there will be cameras. James Comer said, no, we will not have cameras, but now they're going to have cameras. They're just not going to live stream it because they want to be able to cut out the parts where they mention you know who about you know what about the you know thing, about the slavery and the buying and selling of children. Yes, they want to keep all that under wraps because it's a former president and a current president, talking about the good old days when they were buying and selling working class children. Yes, they're going to keep that under wraps. Well, Bill Clinton is going to, I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. I did not have. That's what's going to happen. They want to be able to edit it. That's exactly what it is. They will edit it. It will be redacted like everything else. I can't be. You like the pocket. You're just noticing as my same pocket square every day. I appreciate it. I got the pocket square in. Got the pocket square. Yeah, we're going to have Bill and Hillary Clinton. They can't answer, although they're the ones that requested to be asked in under the lights and everything. I think that would have been better. Maybe they could have done 2 sessions. They could have had one under the lights and one behind closed doors. I wanted to see how they would actually talk to a former president. Would they be so rambunctious? These Congress people, would they be so abrasive? I mean, they talk a lot of shit about Bill Clinton behind his back. When they get on the Sunday news shows, they talk a lot of shit. Would they really sink their teeth into him in front of the cameras? After all, John Fetterman says we got to respect the office. We got to respect the office of the president. They've never done anything wrong. The office is what matters. You better respect the office. They've been telling me that since I was a little kid. Respect the office. Meanwhile, the office, does it respect me? Does it respect my kids? Does it respect your kids? Does it respect any of us? Does it respect the civilians of Venezuela? Does the office respect anybody else? No, 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 no. You've got to respect the office. It's a one-way street. You respect the office. The office doesn't respect you. But wait a second. I thought the office of the president was supposed to serve me. I thought they worked for me. No. They don't work for you anymore. They don't even need to go to ask you any questions about a big old supposedly ballroom that they're building, or the arch. You realize, Donald Trump is building an arch for himself, just like like George Washington built the Washington Memorial for himself. Just joking. It's a memorial. It was built after he died. This guy's building an arch for himself in Washington, D.C. We're going to have to de-Stalinize Washington, D.C. when this is all over. The office doesn't even respect the office. They pardoned the Jan 6 rioters. Exactly. The office. Oh, I gotta. He's not in the office anymore, but the office of he has the title. It's still Mr. President. President Bill Clinton. Should they just disrespect him? I did not have sexual relations. I did not have sexual relations on that island. Turns out I did have sexual relations on that island. That's what they're all saying. Howard Lutnick. Oh, I never would talk to that piece of shit. Oh, never. Turns out I was on the island. I was there with my wife. I left with my children. I didn't leave my kids there. The fact that this guy has to say that means he should have not been on the fucking island. Don't go on the island, man. If you are on an island where you have to later tell everybody and assure everyone that you left with your children, if you already know that, then you shouldn't be on that island. Okay? Cameras during the session means everyone has to keep on their human skin suits. I bet those may be itchy if not properly maintained. Maybe that's what it is, man. Maybe that's what it is. I might. You might be right. I think that might be exactly what it is. They got their lizard skins. They want to. They can't lick their own eyeballs with the cameras on. They can't do the whole thing where they lick their eye. They can't do it. They can't do it. Listen, I'm sorry we had a late start today. I was taking care of somebody at the hospital, driving people around. It was a whole thing, but I didn't want to leave you hanging. I rushed home. I set up the show, but it's going to be a little rocky road. I mean, I did create a playlist and everything, but I'm not as prepared as I normally am. So if it doesn't seem like I have the same fluidity, if I don't seem as prepared as normal, that's why. All right, I'll tell you all about it. If you're a channel member, we'll talk about all that personal stuff in the afterglow. Thank you. All the president is the number one ranking public servant. He's not even number one. Number one is Congress, Mr. Good Citizen. Number one is Congress. President isn't even number one. He's just the guy who's supposed to make sure that everything happens in the executive branch, because you got to have top cop. That's all. That's all he is. They've clawed power for themselves to make themselves feel more just make them feel like they're top dog, but they aren't top dog. They're top cop. I don't have that much respect for cops these days either. They'll shoot you in the face just for looking at them wrong. God damn. Man, every time I see a cop, I think now these days I go, are you a real cop? I think that's next time I see a police officer, I'm going to say, are you a real police officer? Could you prove that you're a cop for me, please? I don't know. I've seen a lot of stuff on TV. A lot of you guys, oh man, a lot of you guys walking around beating the shit out of women and children without letting us know who you is. I don't trust you. No trolls yet. I'm considering. I actually put a only subscribed can chat. Yeah, I put it on the only subscribe for chatters today because I figure if you're gonna troll and say all these wonderful things about Donald Trump, you can subscribe. It's okay. I don't mind having haters subscribe. I see a bunch of these Republicans, man, and these mag turds. They won't support channels half the time. But I'm subscribed to a bunch of right-wing channels. a ton of right-wing channels. If I subscribe to a right-wing channel, then they should be able to subscribe to me. That's all I'm saying. So that's how that works. Yes, keeps Gob the lifetime liberal Trump supporter away. Yeah, well, you'd think so, but you never know. All right. We're gonna get started. We did subscribble. That's it. I'm a conservative. I can't support anything government and police or government. Hey, you know what? If you're a conservative, that's a real conservative. You're supposed to be about small government. That's how it used to be. Shit, I'm more conservative than these guys calling themselves conservative these days, Mr. Good Citizen. I'll tell you something funny. When I moved to Germany, a lot of the Germans were like, "You're so conservative. Are you Republican?" And I'm like, "No." Back then, I considered myself a bit of a lefty liberal. I considered myself a liberal back then. No, I'm not. And they're like, "Nah, you sound like a Republican. You sound conservative AF." They didn't talk like that back then, and we were speaking German. But I thought it was so funny because in Orange County, California, everyone would call me a flaming liberal, But then I moved to Germany and everyone calls me a conservative Republican. So just goes to show it's just a matter of situation. You know what I mean? Sayard says F Trump. Well, I can't say I disagree with that. They're Republicans, not conservatives. Well, and they're not even Republicans. The Republican platform is dissolved, man. The only Republican left is Tom Tillis, and he's a short timer, man. There's no one left. Republicans are gone. All you got is the MAGA. You got the Nazi Party. I watched this movie. I'm gonna put together a top 10 Rise of Fascism movie list. Yesterday, I watched a film called The Judgment at Nuremberg from 1961, starring Spencer Tracy and Burt Lancaster. What a film. Marlena Dietrich's in it. Montgomery Clift is in it, and so is Judy Garland. It's an incredible movie. I was like, it was weird because I got it recommended to me, and I remember hearing about it, but I never watched it. Fabulous film. It's about putting the legalist loyalists on trial. It's about the third set of Nuremberg trials when it was just the U.S. tribunal doing the trying, and all the political pressures put onto them to let some of these Nazis go. And not be too hard on these ones, because we hanged so many, and we wanted to keep the Germans happy because we might need them to fight the communists because the Cold War was coming, And so, what a fascinating movie! I friggin' loved it. The Judgment at Nuremberg, wonderful, wonderful film, and I can't help but think, wow, these guys. They're talking about how many different organizations facilitated the rise of fascism. It wasn't just this group or that group or these folks or these individuals. You have Winston Churchill singing the praises of Hitler, the Pope singing the praises of Hitler. You had the American industrialists singing the praises of Hitler and profiting off of him. And yet, who do we blame? We blame these guys. These guys are the ones to blame. The ones who thought that maybe they could make a difference if they did these little things, if they just followed the rules. Wow. I thought it was wonderful. You don't really get that kind of moral nuance in a film without it being preachy. And I thought that the trial at Nuremberg was great. Has anybody seen it? I think we're going to have similar trials in the United States before this is all over, man. Whoa. And it's shocking to me. I grew up reading comic books and thinking about these types of things and kind of just developing a distaste for fascism because, even though Batman was rich, Batman hated fascists. Batman hated chomos. I saw a guy at the shooting range on Sunday wearing a MAGA hat with the Batman logo on his leg. He's got Batman on his leg doing like a Batman thing, I think that's like a Batman thing. And I wanted to go up and ask him, Batman hated chomos. You're wearing the fucking MAGA hat and you're pro chomo? Dude, let's fight. Let's have a fist fight but then we had guns and I was like, maybe we shouldn't do that. And plus I had someone with me that was a stranger. Other people tend to calm me down. When I'm by myself, I tend to get involved with other people's shit. But if someone else is there, I don't want to embarrass them or make them feel bad about how I want to start fights with Nazis. But yes, it's amazing how people are willing to wear that MAGA hat. You wear that red cap, that just shows me that you are an accomplice after the fact for everything that happened on Epstein Island. You are an accomplice to chomocracy. You are a supporter of chomocracy, a government ruled by chomos, and you are a support of that. I can't stomach it, man. And then you've got a Batman logo on your leg. You got a tattoo of Batman. Batman hated chomos, man. Batman beat the shit out of people who were chomos. Batman hates fascism. So, something to think about. That's a thing. I hate liberals and MAGA. Well, welcome to the club, Mr. Good Citizen. Are you you just might be an anarchist. But thank you for being here. I hate libtards and magtards myself. I don't like them. No, sir. No, sir, I don't like them. No, sir, I don't like it.
What Donald Trump ultimately wanted and what perhaps your Democratic...
All right, so this is Moskowitz. I like Moskowitz. He's such a... He's always got jokes. But I think this guy we're going to start off with a little CNN talking about, well, what about the hecklers? What are we going to do about these hecklers? Who started this heckling bullshit? That was started during Obama when the Republicans started going, "You're a liar!" during the speech. They started the heckling. The race to the bottom starts with Republicans. That's why Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. And it's like, you can only do that for so long. Plus, someone like me is like, hey, Democrats, if you want anyone to respect you, you got to get in the dirt with these Republicans and beat the fuck out of them. But still, they're not. They're still not. Bunch of losers, usually. A few of them are. But as a brand, I mean, the Democrats are ruined, right? You don't trust the Democrats, do you? I don't trust the Democrat. There might be a couple, like as far as individuals are concerned, there are a few individuals. The Democrats seem to have a bigger tent. Like there's some outliers, but the Republicans did too, like Rand Paul and Tom Tillis. But those guys, Rand Paul is powerless and Tom Tillis is short timing.
Leadership wanted to avoid.
Oh yeah, no, the president clearly came in with a strategy to do that. Right, his strategy was to try to rage bait people into that fight. He wanted that. And he got it.
You think that Batman was... No, come on. He was not weird with Robin. That was a completely platonic relationship. He was... Even in the 60s TV show. Come on, chum. Well, chum. Holy... Holy Epstein Island, Batman! Well, chum... We got to kill some billionaires. I know I've got a strict no-killing policy, but we got to get the bat wood chipper over here. Batman! Well, old chum, Robin, fire up the bat wood chipper. We got some pedophiles to feed it. It's about time. I don't think, you know what? Robin chose his own costume, man. That wasn't Batman's decision. He didn't choose that stupid red and green costume. Come on, man. It wasn't his idea.
Look, ultimately, he's not deporting 2 members of Congress, just like he didn't lock up Hillary, even though that was chanted in arenas, around the country. So, look, he can't fix his poll numbers. He can't turn around the fact that he's underwater on the economy, underwater on immigration, the 2 issues that helped get him elected. So what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to fight to the point where he tries to make us not an option, right? He wants to just bring us down with him to the hope that might help him somehow survive the midterms. This is the new strategy. He met with his pollsters. They saw where everything is. They can't turn around their stuff. They've ruined it in the first year. So
they did not call him boy. All right, let's settle this Batman thing because this is going to derail the whole show. Batman was called, listen, they called him Boy Wonder because he was like a miracle. Because of his acrobatic skills and crime-fighting acumen. The dude was a little detective, man. Dick Grayson? Are you talking about Dick Grayson? I mean, there's been 4 Robins. Maybe more. I only know about 4 Robins, Jason Todd, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and something Wayne. Damian Wayne. There's been 4 Robins that I know about. And they're all quite different. But most people, when they talk about Robin, they're talking about Dick Grayson. And Dick Grayson just a badass kid who was always tight in his gloves and he wanted to fight. He was just a little brawler, but he was smart and he knew how to follow orders. Tim Drake, a little bit different. Jason Todd didn't like to follow orders, man. Joker killed him. Joker killed him. Used his mom as bait and killed him. It was horrible. Very sad. I think Tim Drake's parents were killed, but it doesn't matter. We're not going to get into all the Batman lore, man. Point is, Batman was not a chomo. He hated chomos. He had a bat chipper just for them. I think that was the one exception to the don't kill anybody rule for Batman was chomos. Chomos wood chipper. Isn't that everybody's little secret? Like, I'm against the death penalty, but if they put all the chomos in wood chippers, I'm not going to cry about it. You know what I mean? I don't cry when chomos die, Sorry. But don't say that Batman and Robin, I'm sick of that rumor. That's a nasty rumor. I don't like it.
The strategy is to try to bring everybody down in order to survive the midterms.
So Rashida Tlaib responded to Trump. She said, can't take two Muslims talking back and correcting him, so now he's crashing out. And then she used the hashtag President Majnoon, which means crazy or insane in Persian.
Yeah, she also got what she wanted, which was a mistake, I think, for the Democrats to play into that. I actually agree with the congressman. I think the president was setting up Democrats.
This guy's widow peak makes him look like Dracula. Look, this dude looks like Dracula Republican.
In a really simple and easy way. They shouldn't have fallen for it. It seems pretty easy to stand up and say, actually, no, I support American people first. That is where I stand. And we can have a nuanced conversation afterwards if you want about illegal immigration. But they walked into that trap because it was so easy to set.
It's so easy to set. You see, again, when you say things like American people first and all of this shit, bro, you start sounding like a Nazi really fast. Well, just the German folk. Those are the only people. Everyone else we do forced sterilizations. We can do racial defilement laws. Let's have some racial defilement laws like they did in Nazi Germany. Why not? We can have laws against misogyny. This is isn't that where we're going? Isn't that where we're going? We're going to force, I get people in my chat every day telling me how much they think disabled people should be just forced into concentration camps because they have health issues. This is something that we have to address as Americans. Do we want to be like Nazi Germany? Do you want to force sterilization on people because you think that they're politically inconvenient? And you can use the guise of mental health in order to do that because 3 generations of imbeciles is enough, quote unquote, Oliver Wendell Holmes. Do you want to do that? Because America, we used to be all about sterilizing people. Is that what you want to? We used to be all about people of different races not making laws against people of different races being together. Is that what we want to do? Or is it just trans people? We just hate them now? Is that it? We hear about it, the gay, trans, whatever, gender fluidity agenda. I heard that from Pete Hegseth yesterday, or no, this morning actually on the news. I heard Pete Hegseth talking about we're not going to help anyone with the gay, trans, gender fluid agenda. I'm like, wow, I don't know what agenda that is. A gender agenda? Is that what we're doing? Sounds a lot like the Jewish agenda. Sounds a lot like shit that we don't just made up shit to scare people. That's what it sounds like to me. You want to sterilize them? Is that what we're gonna do? Sterilize them with Roundup? Perfect. Sounds like that's what MAGA's into. They're proposing to take one more step toward the final solution. Every step they take seems to be inching us toward that. Just one more step down the path to Auschwitz. If you don't even have to use guns, you can just tell them it's a shower. They'll take off the clothes. The problem is getting rid of all the bodies, but we're so good at that these days. There's records of Epstein purchasing thousands of gallons of sulfuric acid. There's only a few reasons why you would buy that much sulfuric acid. We're really good at getting rid of bodies these days. It's different than it was back in the old days. You won't need ovens and shit. You don't need all that like they used to. Hey, Speaker Sergeant of a Cod. Your malicious ideology has done this job on its own. What future are you planning for, Sky? Whoa, I don't know. I don't plan for any future, man. To me, the future does not look bright. I'm waiting for them to put the black bag over my head. Hate speaker Sargon of Akkad. I bought a gun this year. I mean, I've always been a rifle and shotgun guy. Now I own a handgun this year. So, it's not. Sorry, buddy. I mean, I go to the gun range every week and practice my shooting skills. What kind of future do you think I'm planning for? But my malicious, what is my malicious ideology? What an interesting idea. Malicious ideology of being accept everybody. My ideology of radical acceptance of all human beings as manifestations of this great human experience on planet Earth. Wow, malicious. That is malicious to think that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. What a malicious ideology. My ideology is the American ideology. Your ideology is anti-American. You don't believe in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You don't believe in live and let be. You believe in might makes right. You believe in domination and conquest. That's not the American ideal. Of course, we've done things in the past that are contradictory to our ideology, but you have the malicious ideology. You're the one saying that we should dominate and harm. I'm not malicious. I want people to live. I want everyone to be free. I'm a universal liberationist, man. I want the animals to be free. I'm so hardcore against slavery. I want every animal to be free. That's how hardcore against slavery I am. I don't think that's hardcore, but I guess it is these days because people tend to, they tend to be perfectly fine with most forms of slavery.
Not true. I mean, I stand for
Most Democrats did not stand.
I stand for Americans over non-citizens, and so do all of my colleagues. But just because it's not the Galactic Senate, just because the Emperor says rise, doesn't mean I get up. Like I'm a different branch of government. I rose for the heroes that were in the gallery, not because.
But not for the other point. I mean, you rose because, and thank you for rising. I think in those cases, this is an easy moment to be united, whether it's around Team USA or it's around any of the people who were featured.
Did you hear how the ladies team? They didn't go. They're like, fuck you. I'm not going. I love it. The ladies team. How come women are the only ones standing up to? I was thinking about this. I was writing to my my comic book store owner. I was writing a little message to him. Why is it that little boys grow up with all of this anti-fascist stuff like Lord of the Rings, stuff like Star Wars, stuff like Star Trek and all the comic books, Captain America, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, super against fascism, written almost exclusively by Jewish people who survived the Holocaust or who have members of their families who survived the Holocaust. These are the folks who gave us this anti-fascist messaging. And yet these little boys grow up and they turn into Chomo supporters and Trump supporters, or the same thing, right? And yet women are standing up to him. Women are standing up against fascism. What happened, little boys growing up into men? How come in the 90s we all agreed that fascism was wrong? We all thought Darth Vader was the bad guy. And now only women will stand up to Donald Trump. What's up with that? Are women the only ones with balls now? I mean, seriously, no wonder there's all these incels. Only women are willing to stand up for themselves. Men can't stand up. They don't have the courage to say, hold on up, cotton picking minute. Is it because women have more education than men on average these days? Is that what it is? What is it? How come the women's national team of hockey, who also won a gold medal, told Donald Trump to screw when they asked them to be political pawns? I'm curious what you think.
There. But that's sending a message that you agree with the statement or the sentiment, and you chose not to stand.
Well, I'm sure if Joe Biden told Republicans to rise, they would have left from their.
But to that point, doesn't that happen at every single State of the Union address? The president says something innocuous. The party that is the opposite party doesn't stand. That happens every single year.
Yeah, but I feel like shouting matches used to happen. I mean, they started happening maybe in my memory with Joe Wilson under Obama. I don't like Donald
Hey,
Trump.
at least someone got it. Joe Wilson under Obama, he was the one that was like, "You lie! How dare you! I'm so offended." Your mind reading again, Sky. Tell me, is the weather nice in that fool's paradise? Let's not go full parallelish early. I don't know whose mind I'm reading, but it's not that hard to read a MAGA mind. They're quite small. Right above you, I get this guy. Look, we got another guy who's just like, look, children, 300,000 children to labor. Man, meanwhile, I love this type of shit. I mean, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is legalizing slave labor for children in her state, or has successfully already done so. They're putting 5-year-olds in prison camps, and they're like, Biden, though. I mean, shit, man. Biden ain't president. Your job is to criticize those in power. If you think that Biden did something wrong, start a coalition and start prosecuting, man. I'm all for it. Prosecute Biden. I hate Biden so much. I've hated him since I was 9 years old. You bringing up Biden right now is like, why don't we bring up who else? How far back you want to go? Should we bring up Nixon and Reagan? You hear me talking about Reagan and Nixon every goddamn day? Of course not. Of course not. Biden, though. Biden. Dude. Biden inherited the Donald Trump's fumbled economy because he was such a fool he couldn't see the fucking pandemic coming. We all saw it coming. You know, I mean, Barack Obama, he saw Ebola coming, and he took steps to make sure we don't get Ebola in America. But hey, Donald Trump, we had to shut down the whole country in 2020 because of his because he just can't, it just was piss poor planning, telling people to inject bleach and shit, fucking moron. And here we are. What do you know? 2021 saw the hugest jump in the economy, and yet nobody remembers that for some reason. How strange.
I don't support Donald Trump, but I am an institutionalist, and I think that there is a pomp and circumstance and gravitas.
Pomp and circumstance and gravitas. This is why CNN is always like, there's a pomp and circumstance. We all have to respect the presidency. No, we don't. We're Americans. You don't respect shit. Put your fucking jeans on. Roll your sleeves up, Mr. President. Get to work. Get some work done. I don't want to hear about you dancing at ballrooms or getting crown gifts from South Korea. I don't give a shit. Stop taking gifts of Qatari planes, you fucking whore. You fucking whore. Donald Trump is a pimp and a whore. That's what he is. He's a pimp. If you give him nice things, he'll be nice to you. It's disgusting. It's a hideous display. You should all be embarrassed. The man should be ashamed of himself. Fucking whore. I've met actual prostitutes that have more dignity and integrity than Donald Trump. Donald Trump has less dignity than a prostitute, than a Las Vegas hooker. Donald Trump has less integrity than they do. Than an Atlantic City hooker, just to make it East Coast for him. That's where his casinos were. Las Vegas won't give him a gambling license. How strange.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. As we continue to cover President Trump's State of the Union, we're joined now by Alia Rahman, who attended a speech as a guest of Minneapolis Congressmember Ilhan Omar. Last month, federal immigration officers in Minneapolis violently dragged Alia out of her car. She told agents she was disabled, that she had a brain injury, but they ignored her pleas for medical attention. She had been headed to a doctor's appointment when she was dragged out of her car.
You can't even go to a doctor's appointment in America without getting the shit beat out of you by these goof cops. They're not even real cops. These guys look like real cops to you? These guys with the masks on, these guys look like real cops? These guys aren't real cops. They got badges? No. They got badge numbers? No. They got names? They got little business cards like normal cops? No. They look like cops to you. These guys, these ones that dragged her out of the fucking car and beat the shit out of her. Now her shoulders don't work. She had a brain injury. She's on her way to the doctor. Yeah, perfectly acceptable in America. This is just, this type of thing's just gonna happen in America. She's on her way to the doctor and they beat the living shit out of her. Let's see what she's got to say about it, huh?
Video of the incident went viral. Last month, she testified at a hearing held by congressional Democrats in Capitol Hill.
I was carried face down through the street by my cuffed arms and legs while yelling that I had a brain injury and was disabled. I now cannot lift my arms normally. I was never asked for ID, never told I was under arrest.
Can't lift her arms normally. Well, they said, John McCain couldn't lift his arms normally either because he was tortured in a POW camp in Vietnam. And Donald Trump called him a loser, said he was not a war hero, that war heroes don't get captured. War heroes don't get shot down, which is funny because he put a National Guardian in harm's way in Washington, D.C., and he caught a bullet from a guy that we used to pay to kill people in Afghanistan. It's a long story. We took this kid, paid him a lot of money to go kill people in Afghanistan, promised him we'd allow him into the United States. He came to the United States. Donald Trump came into power and put him into, put a National Guardian all over, put him all over the goddamn Washington, D.C., the United States Capitol, and one of them caught a bullet to the head. And he got a Purple Heart at the State of the Union on Tuesday. It's funny. John McCain, he said, was not a hero because he got shot down in a time of war. Couldn't use his arms because he spent, I think, years in a concentration camp, a POW camp, where they tortured him every day. That guy wasn't a hero in Donald Trump's eyes. He was a loser. So now this lady, because of Donald Trump, she can't use her arms either. He probably thinks she's a loser now too, don't you?
Never read my rights and never charged with a crime.
Right.
That was Alia Rahman testifying on Capitol Hill. Last night, she was removed from the gallery at the State of the Union, then arrested and jailed. She got out at like 4 o'clock this morning. Alia, welcome back to Democracy Now! Tell us what you went through last night.
She got arrested at the State of the Union address. What? Sounds weird.
Right? And then what happened to you in Minneapolis?
Thanks for having me back, Amy. Yeah, the reason I am wearing the same outfit I was at the State of the Union and in the media I did with Representative Omar, I was a guest of Representative Ilhan Omar's, is because I got out from a hospital visit and the custody of Capitol Police just before 4 a.m. And I had already been scheduled to talk to you, so I figured I would come and tell folks what happened. I was not just removed and arrested. I was arrested so physically that 2 other attendees upstairs attempted to intervene in officers pulling on my shoulders after I told them I have a torn rotator cuff tendon and multiple cartilage tears in both of my shoulders. That is what happened in the audio you just played. That is why I cannot lift my arms normally. 2 women in the gallery, and thank you to the woman in the white shirt with the red writing who said, I need you to take your hands off of her and just let her walk with her cane. They did not do that, and only when their own sergeant intervened in a back stairwell of that building to say, stop, we need to get her medical care and a wheelchair, did they stop tugging on me, while again I was saying disabled. Amy, would you like to know why I was told that I was removed and arrested? The sergeant of...
I'd love to know why you were arrested. Why were you arrested? I'm asking myself that same question. Why did this woman get arrested at the State of the Union address? Why was she manhandled? Why were her rights violated yet again? I wonder why. Shall we dig deeper and find out why this woman was manhandled and tortured? Let's find out.
Arms told me it was because I was standing up silently. No buttons, no facial expressions, no gestures, no signs, not one sound. Standing up. There are only 2 things you can do at the State of the Union, and they are sit down and stand up. All kinds of people were standing up all night, me too. I stood up at the moment that I heard this man say some of the most racist things I have heard come out of any leader's mouth about the people of my city, and continue to trash talk my state of Minnesota and glorify DHS, the people who did this to me and who are being allowed to roam free on the streets.
If you could very quickly, I'm so sorry this happened to you, but explain why you have a torn rotator cuff, why you have tendons ripped in both shoulders.
I have a tendon ripped in one shoulder, and then in that same shoulder, another cartilage rip, and in my left shoulder, 2 cartilage tears with what my doctor called ragged pieces of tissue hanging in the joint that may need to be operated on. That happened because in the audio you played, I was talking about when I was pulled out of my car. Most people see the first part of that video. I was put on the ground behind my car, cuffed behind my back, and then carried through the street. Face down, I was lifted up by my wrists and ankles with my hands already cuffed behind my back. And then once I was in the Whipple Center, instead of getting me a walking aid because I'm disabled, they just jerked me around by my shoulders for a while.
This woman with a brain injury on her way to the doctor's office, not a protester, not a communist. Oh, you're calling her a communist. What a funny thing. What a funny thing. What a funny thing to call her. I mean, you think that's a commie? You think she's a commie? Last time I checked, though, it is totally legal to be a communist in the United States of America. Last time I checked. But I guess your political affiliation means that you can be tortured. So apparently, we still have people in America who think it's A-okay to torture people based on their political affiliation. First they came for the communists, and I did nothing because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the labor unionists, and I did nothing because I was not a labor unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did nothing because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for me, and no one was there to do anything about it because I'm a piece of shit coward who thought it was okay to incarcerate people based on religion or political affiliation or their activism. Oh. America. Man, we just don't deserve you. America, we don't deserve a republic. We don't deserve to have a republic. Just like the Germans didn't deserve it when they let the Weimar Republic get trampled on by jackbooted thugs. Not unlike the jackbooted thugs that we see today.
So that's what I'm dealing with. That's what I came here with. And I really wonder if these folks have noticed yet that every time you try to break my body, you fuel my spirit. I was arrested for standing up. This administration wins 0 prizes for their command of metaphors, my friend. The reason I stood up at that moment was not to disrupt anything. I was silent, arms by my side. I stood up because hearing this level of racism, I wanted to see with my own eyes, unmediated by anyone's lens, who had still come to this building to govern. If there were any grown-ups down there. Who really believes this lie that was used to brutalize our city, my body? And if unchecked, this is the lie that will be used to brutalize communities of color, all sorts of communities. As
not just communities of color, countless others. I don't know if you heard, but we might still be going to Cuba. My money's still on killing Cubans this year. I think we are definitely going to go and kill Cubans this year and Iranians. I think that my money is on Cuba and Iran. The anti-war president, the pro-peace president, the no more regime change president. He's probably going to go and do some regime change over in Cuba and Iran. But hey, I know that you guys, how will you cope, MAGA fools? How will you cope when he goes and does more regime change? I mean, he already literally kidnapped a head of state, Maduro. So, like, if you're going to do that, we've already done one regime change. How many more will we do? My money's on Cuba. My money's on Iran. Iran upcoming? Yeah, you think so? Didn't mag turds already go to Cuba? Ooh, well, it is in the news. There's some stuff in the news today. But let's see. So much for peace president. More like pedo prez. Indeed. More like pedo prez. We live in a chomocracy where the chomos are in charge. Chomos in charge of our days and our nights. Chomos in charge of our wrongs and our rights. And I see Chomos in charge of me. Chomos in charge of our days and our nights. Chomos in charge, taking away all of our rights. I don't know if you remember the Scott Baio TV show, Chomos in Charge.
Breaking moments ago, MS Now's Carol Lennick and Ken Delanian are reporting that the FBI has just fired at least 7 FBI agents and supports
Tony Danza. No, that was Scott Baio, baby. That was Scott Baio, not Tony Danza. Tony Danza was Who's the Boss? Angela. Angela. That was I love Tony Danza. What are they going to call me? Can I tell you a quick Tony Danza story? Very quick. I had these friends. They were like, they hated Tony Danza. I was like, what the hell's the problem with Tony Danza? And he's like, man, every time they ask him, they were like, man, they asked him this question on some TV show. Hey, how come they always call you Tony in every role you ever take? Your name is Choney. Your name is always Tony. And they're like, and he goes, what are they going to call me? Dennis or something? So then there was a taping because we lived in it was Fullerton, California, but that's like really close to LA. And so we were living there, and my friends, they were all going to go to this this Tony Danza was going to be on some show, and they went up there, and there was going to be a Q&A, and they asked, and they raised their hand. They asked Tony Danza, hey, how come they always call you Tony in every single role you do? And he said, what are they going to call me? Dennis or something? And everyone had this great laugh. He always said that. My friends had I Hate Tony Danza t-shirts because of this episode. Just a thing that happened when I was a kid. Tony Danza. Hold me closer, Tony Danza. Did he ever boink Angela? For sure. And afterwards, he was like, Samantha! Angela! Angela! Yeah. It's good times, good times. Do you remember Nicole Eggert, though, in the second? Because at one point they switched families on Charles in Charge, and Nicole Eggert is in it. And when I was a kid, I was like, man, Nicole Eggert's so hot. I was age appropriate. Like, I think she's older than me. And I was just a kid. Everybody. And I kind of had a crush on Nicole Eggert. And back then, where I lived, you could meet them. Like, I knew Simone Punky Brewster. I remember I knew Simone Moonfry, something like that. Simone Moonfry. I knew her when I was a little kid. She was a little older than me too, though, like 2 years older than me. Anyway, Nicole Eggert was in Charles in Charge, and in Charles in Charge, I thought she was so cute. You know, I was just a little kid, and then I grow up. And this new show comes out called Baywatch with Nicole Eggert in it. Nicole Eggert joins the Baywatch crew. Oh, man, that was like dream come true for little teenage me. I was just a teenager, man. Those were good days. Good days.
Staff as a result of their role in the classified documents.
Soleil Moonfry. That was it. Soleil Moonfry. Yeah. We went to the same summer camp. Isn't that funny? Yeah, she arrived in a limousine. I thought was always so cool. She had this limousine drop her off, and she came like after all the other kids. Like she didn't do like the big. Anyway, she was a little older than me, and we didn't really know each other. But I met her. I knew her sort of.
Donald Trump kept at his club at Mar-a-Lago. Now, that is according to 3 people familiar with the matter. An FBI spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the terminations. Well, MS Now senior investigative correspondent Carol Linnick, who just broke that story, joins us. Also with us is Christina Greer, associate professor of political science at Fordham University. She's the author of How to Build a Democracy, From Fannie Lou Hamer and Barbara Jordan to Stacey Abrams.
Carol, please talk us through your reporting and which question.
How to build a democracy. Do you want one? Does America want a democracy?
Still remain. Well, you know, Alicia, I thought we were done with FBI agents being fired en masse, but tonight we got a tip that, and it wasn't that hard to confirm, that multiple agents and some support staff, at least 7 agents, were fired in relationship to their role in the Mar-a-Lago, what's known as the Mar-a-Lago documents case. You'll remember the FBI opened an investigation after determining there was probable cause to believe that Donald Trump had top secret classified records at his club when he was no longer president after he had left office in January of 2021. These individuals were fired, we are told by sources, were fired because they played some role in seeking investigative materials and specifically phone records, metadata about the phone calls of Kash Patel, who is now the FBI director, and Susie Wiles, who is now the chief of staff for the White House. The choice of these firings now is interesting because the FBI director fired or his predecessor fired many FBI agents immediately after Donald Trump's inauguration. So the question arises, why now are these?
Why are they firing FBI agents who happen to be the ones investigating Donald Trump's obvious violation of the law when it comes to those top secret documents that he hid in the ballroom and in the bathroom. Maybe that's what Donald Trump calls his top secret document archive and warehouse. He calls it a ballroom. That's what he's actually building in the East Wing. He's building a ballroom. It's not a real ballroom. It's actually just a warehouse where he wants to keep top secret documents. Bathrooms and ballrooms. That's where he keeps that shit. That's just how it goes. Why is he firing those people at the FBI? Does anybody know? Isn't it obvious? What? Yeah, is it obvious? Convenient, isn't it? It's convenient indeed, Michael Jones. Isn't it obvious? Why would he fire them? I don't know. Direct democracy is idiotic, says Billy Talent. Billy Talent is my new super fan. He likes leaving lots of fascist shit. He probably lives in like Eastern Europe or someplace in Eastern Africa. Direct democracy is moronic. Any advocates for that should be shamed and shunned, says Billy Talent, the guy who defends chomos every day. Wakes up in the morning and says, I can't wait to defend the president. I can't wait to hold water for those in power. I can't wait to lick the boots of anyone whose balls are marinating in their own diapers. I can't wait to find a dementia patient and brown nose them until I can't brown nose anymore, until I've collected enough grease on my nose that I can't tell shit from shinola, so I shine their shoes with that grease on my nose. Anyone who is so fascist, I can't wait to lick those boots. Please put that boot on my neck, says these types of folks. Oh my God, how embarrassing. You know they're not American. Americans would never behave that way, would never bow down to the oppressive lot like them. We've got something special about us, don't we? We would never let what happened in Germany happen here, would we? We would never let something like that occur, not on our watch, not while Americans are at the helm, right? We would never allow it to happen.
Across the country, meanwhile, there have been many questions surrounding the policing of U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents. Concerns have come up in cities stretching from Los Angeles to Minneapolis.
And now questions are being raised here in Columbus. Caught on camera, ICE agents deploying pepper spray into a car with a mother and 3 children inside. All
the sanctity of children. Oh, yes. Looks like Donald Trump is at it again. Just one whole day after the goddamn State of the Union address. What is he doing? Well, pepper spraying children. That's what he's doing.
U.S. citizens.
Now, when we reached out to ICE to ask why.
U.S. citizens? Oh, my God. Would it matter? Does it matter if they're U.S. citizens or does it matter that they're children? Which one is it? Is it only U.S. citizen children that shouldn't be pepper sprayed in the face for doing nothing wrong? Or is it all children? I think we got to decide, because that's what the Germans had to decide. They had to decide, do all children matter? Or is it okay to put some children in gas chain? Is it okay to gas some children and not others? Because it sounds like that's what they're saying. It's okay to spray gas in the faces of children who are not politically convenient. These folks, these kids, these little kids, they were American citizens, so I guess you should care. I would care no matter what. You're gassing children. But MAGA, they don't care. They like gassing children. Oh, is it white children? Because that is true. That is true. You never hear about non-citizen Irish people or non-citizen Russians. And there are lots of Russians and Irish illegal immigrants, undocumented American workers. Lots of them are Irish and Russian. You never hear about them getting gassed. So strange. Why is it that? Why is that? It's almost as if they're using this brutality and the law to perpetrate and promulgate racism. What Americans are you talking about? The white ones are almost universally concerned about demographic security, save the boomers. Oh, are they? What's demographic security? Demographic security. That sounds like racial purity. Is that the same thing? It sounds like racial purity to me. I'm hearing this just in. Yes. Let me Google it. I want to Google that term. So what should I Google? Why do racists say demographic security? I'm just going to say, what is I can't type today. Demographic security. Okay. Should I put the what is democratic security? Demographic security refers to the protection of a state and society right from threats arising from population changes, such as rapid aging, population decline, or massive migration, which can affect economic stability, national power, or social order. Okay. It involves managing population size, structure, and distribution to maintain national sovereignty and sustainable balanced growth. Oh, it sounds like a white supremacist thing to me. Am I who thinks this sounds like white supremacy? Sounds a lot like, but I do see the rapid aging, high demand for healthcare and pension systems. I mean, it does sound pretty nasty. Let's see. Ethnic and religious compositions. This sounds like racial purity stuff. Let's see what the AI says. While demographic security can't be a neutral analytical term in security studies, it is frequently criticized for its historical and modern links to ethno-nationalism and exclusionary politics. In many contexts, it can indeed mirror racial purity concepts by framing shifts in ethnic and racial composition as an existential threat to the dominant group. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought it would be. So you think that it's an ethnic... You think that ethnic changes are threatening the domination of your group? Is that what you're trying to say? Oh, dang it. It's an existential threat to the dominant group. Oh, man. Dang it. That sounds a lot like what the Germans were saying. Sounds a lot like that. They got to have racial defilement laws. I mean, isn't that... Let's see. Were the Nazi ideas of racial defilement laws in response to ethnic security or demographic security issues? Nazi ideas of racial defilement, Rassenschande, laws were fundamentally a response to ethnic security issues. Yes, driven by pseudoscientific ideological obsession with racial purity rather than a demographic security issue in the sense of population shortage, the laws aim to protect the Aryan race from perceived contamination by Jews, Roma, black people, defining these groups as an existential threat to the German folk or nation. Great. All right, so we got to the bottom of that. I like it. Call whatever it makes you feel better. That's the boat Whitey is boarding, says all like ding dang do. They woke up. Okay, if you say so. I mean, if you think that's the boat that Whitey's on, I'd rather just not be on that boat. You know what I mean? Like, we are going to get to the point where they're going to force you to wear something that shows whose allegiance you claim. That's what's going to eventually happen if we keep going down this road. Are you going to wear the little Hakenkreuz or whatever little symbol they come up with? Are you going to wear it? I mean, that's always the question, right? It's funny. I don't want no spoilers, but the movie came out in 1961, and it's on my mind. The judgment at Nuremberg. At the end, he says, "You have to understand, we didn't know it would go this far. We didn't know that 1 million innocent people would end up being executed. We didn't know that millions of people would be harmed in such a way. We didn't know that 400,000 people would be involuntarily sterilized. We didn't know. We were just trying to keep a hand on the rudder. We're just trying to, when we put the swastika on our judges' robes, we didn't know it would go this far. And the last words of the film are, you knew that the second you put the first innocent person in prison, the second you put a person in prison for just being different, you knew it. That was done. That was a done deal the second that happened. The first one. Damn, Spencer Tracy, baby. Spencer Tracy and Burt Lancaster. What a fucking movie. Gotta see it. You gotta see it. It's fantastic. But here we are in America, putting people in prison for being different, for being born someplace else, even if they're completely following the law, not breaking any laws whatsoever. But hey. Crazy. Demographic security, huh? You tend to buy into these code words, don't you? Like, you watch conservative media and they say shit like demographic security, and it sounds good to you, doesn't it? It makes you sound smart. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're helping the good whites. Is that what you're thinking? I'm not saying it's not going to be bad. I'm saying that's the logical endpoint of our society's multicultural fixation. It's not a fixation. It's a liberty thing, man. You're talking about control versus liberty. That's what you want to control who gets to have sex with whom. That's totalitarianism. You want to control who gets to mate, who gets to live where they live. You want to control who gets to go where. You want to decide that based on your preference for certain dominant culture. You don't want to just let culture evolve on its own or do its own thing. You want to have your decisions in the mix because you know better, because you have a preference for one race over another. It's no different than Nazism. You're just subscribing to Nazi. It's just you're just using different words for Nazism. And logical arguments are wonderful, but logic isn't everything. We're human beings. You can use logic to defend all sorts of shit. You can use logic to sterilize the mentally feeble, or whatever they call the feeble-minded. You could sterilize the feeble-minded, as they said back in the day, and call it logic. Euthanasia, perfectly logical, right? Eugenics, perfectly logical. Perfectly logical, eugenics. Do it. Yeah, that's what you want to do. You're defending eugenicism. Despite all the evidence to show what road that takes us down, you're happily marching down the road toward Auschwitz. You're happily doing it. You're skipping like fucking Dorothy on the yellow brick road on the way to Auschwitz because you think that you won't be the one in the oven. But you don't even realize all of us end up having to bow and put little symbols on our fucking shirts and tell everybody, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. You don't want to be free. So embarrassing. Genetic security, says Thorne. Genetic security, that's it, right? Genetic security. It's so funny that everyone who defends MAGA is always happily supporting ideas that the Nazis... These aren't new ideas. They're not even new slogans. There's nothing new about it. And there's so much you could turn on your phone and watch actual footage, watch fictionalized video, movies. You can watch all of these things. You can watch Hermann Göring You can see his body if you want, because he killed himself, because all you fucking Nazis are cowards. You dance just as gracefully as I do to these tunes. No, I don't. No, I don't, because I'm for liberty and freedom. I'm for liberty and freedom, and you're not, man. You're not for freedom. You're against freedom. You don't have principles, dude. You don't have principles.
Their answer did not match up with the video we obtained of the incident.
NBC4 Investigates is digging into this story. And
they're gassing children in Minneapolis.
Reporter Isabel Cleary joins us right now with what each side is saying about this. Isabel?
Jared, Jen, a Columbus mother with 3 children in the car, all U.S. citizens, ages 18, 15, and 11, were out shopping. But that trip ended with a 911 call. She says ICE agents sprayed pepper spray into their car. The mother is calling it assault, while ICE says a group was blocking the agents who used the spray to clear a path.
We just got nicely our eyes were burning, and I had crying kids, and one of those just, you're helpless.
A video obtained by NBC4 Investigates shows the moments just before and during the incident in late December near Easton Mall. The daughter of the woman driving yelled out her window, warning others about ICE agents nearby. Then a white Dodge Durango drives up next to them.
It hit everyone. I mean, it was clear across. I have pictures of inside the vehicle. It's everywhere.
Here's that moment again.
They didn't have their lights on or anything until after they pepper sprayed us to get out of traffic.
The Durango then turned on its police lights and drove away. The mom who was pepper sprayed asked us.
These fucking cowards. That's not Nazi-ish at all, right? That's not Gestapo-like. That ain't like Gestapo, right? Oh, you said something about us. Have a pepper spray in your face. All your children just got gassed. You said the wrong thing around the wrong people. And then they turn on their sirens and they leave, huh? That ain't like the Nazis at all. Why do you guys keep on comparing the ICE to Gestapo? Why do you keep on doing that? Why do you keep calling us Nazis? Oh my God, why?
With more on all this madness, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. I didn't know you caused such a stir and such a controversy. I mean, how horrible that you took pictures of American champions that made us proud, that are proud of their president, their country, and proud to represent us.
These Nazis.
Well, I didn't know it caused such a controversy either, Sean, until I just saw that headline flash on the screen, and I'm truly appalled. I saw a lot of Democrat commentators today spiraling out of control, grasping at straws, trying to find any excuse to criticize President Trump's exceptional speech last night, and they have a very
exceptional speech. It was exceptional in its length and how long this piece of garbage can say nothing for fucking 170 minutes. It was so long. It was so long. It was longer than Arnold Palmer Schlong, and let me tell you, he was all man. And I love women. Trust me, I love women. I love women. But I love Arnold Palmer Schlong. It was beautiful. Oh, my God. We all looked at it, and it was glorious.
hard time doing so. It's even forced them, as you just pointed out, to turn against the great men and women who brought home gold medals for the first time in 46 years since the miracle on ice. These are great men. They're patriots. They are great athletes who represented our country at the highest level of sports. And the president was so proud to present them to the joint Congress last night. Both Democrats and Republicans should be able to stand up and clap for these young men who made our country so proud.
They did. Everyone stood up and clapped for these guys. Great. It went on forever. You guys would not stop.
On the world stage. But unfortunately, it appears that Democrats, their brains have been so debilitated by Trump derangement syndrome that they can't even root for Team USA. They can't even stand when the president calls on them to do so for American.
You know, it's great that they keep on calling it Trump derangement syndrome. They keep on saying this. Wait till they get a doctor to call it Trump derangement syndrome. Anyone who disagrees with the president. And wait till they start sterilizing people for being feeble-minded because they have a different opinion. Because that's how it started. Don't you realize that's what the Nazis did, right? They started out saying, they started shit out with like RFK Jr. saying, they never will. The autistic people will never write a poem. They'll never go on a date. And I'm the healthiest man in the world. I'm the healthiest man in the world. My name is RFK Jr. That guy says that he's going to take care of it. We got to fry everything. We got to fry everything in fucking beef tallow. Beef tallow is so good. We got to fucking render more cows and turn them into beef tallow so we can fry our french fries in beef tallow. They're healthy. French fries are healthy if they're fried in beef tallow. Yeah. That guy. eventually we'll get to the point where he's just killing people who have autism. He's already wants a list of people. Let's see all the people with autism. Let's put them all on a list. And then we'll put certain ones of them that got funny ideas that are too much for us. They're a little too much. We'll put them in concentration camps and we'll sterilize them or just exterminate them. And then the same thing will happen where, oh, you're a communist? You must have a feeble mind. You must be autistic. Because that's the type of shit they would do. They would take people who were communist and they would bring them to a courtroom and say, what was Adolf Hitler's birthday? And if they didn't know, then guess what they did? You're scheduled to be sterilized. We're going to take away your bodily autonomy, which they've already done. You think they're going to stop at women's bodily autonomy? No. You're communist. You must be a communist because you don't know Goebbels' birthday. This is the type of shit they did. They would ask them little stupid questions and say, "Oh, well, you don't know the answers? You must be, well, we're going to cut your nuts off. We're going to yank out your ovaries." That's what they did. This is well documented. 400,000 times they did that. Do you think RFK Jr. is above that? I'm totally above that. I would never bring a chainsaw to a beached whale and cut off its head so I could eat his head. I would never do that. I would never take a bear and put him into Central Park as a joke because I couldn't eat him because the worms were coming out.
Citizens who they swear an oath to protect.
You know, if you go back in time, I mean, we have clips we played on this program of Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, even Chuck Schumer saying...
I see you guys judging my RFK Jr. impression. It used to be better, but it hurt my throat when I used to do it. When I used to do my real RFK Jr. impersonation, it would hurt my throat and I couldn't really do the rest of the show. It's a long show. When he was running for president, I did his impersonation a lot more, but it would hurt my throat.
You need ID, or else it lends itself to corruption and fraud. And that was the Democratic Party then. This party does not even represent Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. And I thought, especially in the case of Barack Obama, he was pretty far left. Now, I think the absolute genius in the speech last night, and I want to know if you agree, is the president created the greatest, comparative choice election this country will ever face. If you think it's the first duty of the government to protect American citizens and not illegals, stand with us. They didn't stand, Caroline. They sat. What does that say?
It
shows that they're not going to fucking just stand up whenever this fascist says bullshit like that. We stand for humanity. We stand for the law. That's what Congress does. It doesn't stand for this bullshit purity test. It's a total Nazi fucking move. Do you stand for American citizens more than illegals? That's the same shit. Do you stand for Germans more than Jews? Do you? Stand up if you stand for Germans instead of Jews. Instead, people of Congress and people in America should say, do you stand up for the rule of law or do you stand up for tyrants? That's the real question. Do you stand up for American citizens or illegals? Fucking bullshit. What's an illegal?
Now, a Newton man says he feels vindicated. Noah Peterson was arrested twice after criticizing the police and the city during 2 city council meetings. Now, a federal judge says those arrests violated his constitutional rights. KCCI's Marcus McIntosh is live for us in Newton, where he spoke to Peterson about the ruling. Marcus?
Ben, Noah Peterson says he was basically speechless when Monday's federal court ruling came down. But he says he will never forget where he was or what he was doing when his lawyers called him with the good news.
Billy Talent, you know what? This guy has been defending Nazis on my channel for a lot of the time. Yes, it's identical. It's identical. First, you have the Nuremberg laws, which declare large groups of people illegal, calling human beings illegal, saying they're not part of us, they should be deported. Don't forget that the Holocaust started out as a mass deportation program. That's what it was. They're going to deport everybody because it's better for everyone. It's better for them. It's better for us. That was the idea. That was how they sold it. Put them on trains and get them out. And then when they saw the little kids on the trains at the train station, the German people, and I met them. I lived in Germany. I met people, because don't forget, I moved to Germany in 1999. There were people that I knew who were old enough to remember what it was like under Hitler. That's so crazy. It wasn't that long ago. I've met many people who survived the camps or who were children of the Holocaust or children of those dark times. And they said, they saw it, but no one could imagine what was actually bullshit. They said, yeah, fuck yeah, we knew, but we didn't think it was as bad as it was. That's the truth of it. We knew it was bad, but they were just deporting all of these Jewish children, all of these black children, all of these Roma, all of these politically inconvenient, the asocial, asocial they called them, the asocials, the Antifa, the Antifa leftist communists. That's what they did. If you were communist, put them on the train, get them out of the country. It's a deportation. That's what it was. Turns out deportation wasn't effective enough. And it wasn't until the last 2 years of the war where they were really, really just, doing the real nasty work. We're in that early stage where they're putting people into concentration camps for deportation. That's what we're doing. That's the level we're at. Is the rule brought you to this? If the rule brought you to this, what use is the rule? What rule? What rule are you talking about? Because right now they're taking people who are completely legally here on the books seeking asylum. People like Irina, the one you care so much about, the one who was here legally, going to court, setting up her court date, showing up on time. Those people are getting arrested if they're brown. But you love Irina for some reason. Huh. What's the difference between Irina and a Venezuelan here on asylum? What's the difference between someone from Venezuela here as an asylum seeker and Irina, the one killed in North Carolina on the train? What's the difference? What's the difference? Asylum must be asked for. Yes, every time you see someone getting arrested at a courthouse, they are part of that process, Billy Talent. Look it up. What's the difference between a Venezuelan showing up to a courthouse and getting arrested for doing it the right way and Irina? What's the difference? The system converts citizens to criminals. Well, that's true. We know that. Everyone's just waiting to get convicted of 3 felonies every time they walk out the door. Thank you so much, Chris Petsavas. I appreciate you. You're wonderful.
I was at work. I saw I was getting a call from my lawyer, answered it, said some choice words from excitement.
Despite his excitement, the ruling from the federal court judge was one Noah Peterson expected.
I think it was just a slam dunk case.
Peterson says it also...
Billy Talent, you're a fucking idiot if you think that people showing up at courthouses like we see most of the people doing, now 73% of the people have never been convicted of a violent crime or anything else. Yeah, no, you're an idiot. That's what they're doing. They're not sneak in illegally. You think that people snuck in illegally and all those people that they're rounding up all snuck in illegally? Are you fucking crazy? I live right by the border. You moron. Jesus, people. Jesus, God damn it, you're so stupid, Billy Talent. God damn it, you're stupid. God damn it. It's so painful to have someone as stupid as you breathing the same air as me. You can't, I know you're not American. You cannot, I don't believe that Billy Talent is American. There's no way. I just can't, I don't believe it.
started back in late 2022. During public comment at 2 different city council meetings, he criticized the police department and the mayor. At one of the meetings, he called them fascists. He was arrested for disorderly conduct at both council meetings. At one of the meetings, he was said to be violating the city's rule against derogatory comments. Monday, a federal court judge ruled that rule and the arrests were wrong.
The First Amendment is clear. You have a right to criticize the government.
He was represented in court by attorneys for Institute for Justice, IJ, a Washington, D.C. area nonprofit law firm advocating for individual rights through strategic litigation and public advocacy. IJ attorney James Knight sent this press release that reads in part, "The decision is a clear warning to government officials nationwide. In America, you don't get to call the cops on your critics. If you do, not even qualified immunity can save you." Peterson says it is not about headlines, being a role model, or an example to others.
I'm just doing what I think anyone should be doing. If they see something wrong, they should not be afraid to speak out against it.
That's right. If you see something wrong, go to City Hall and call them fascists. If you see a fascist in the street, call them a fascist. Let everyone know, hey, we got a fascist around. And then when they arrest you, you could sue them for millions of dollars for violating your First Amendment right. This guy was arrested for criticizing the government, calling them fascists. And now he's out here telling everybody, hey, these fucking fascists arrested me, violating my First Amendment right. The first one. A ding-dang-do. It looks like where he lives, the people of his council are a bunch of fascists. They arrested him for expressing himself and criticizing the government. Wow. Seems like a few people are still, standing up for the American way of life. It's nice to see. It's nice to see.
Turned out of Microsoft founder Bill Gates his eye-opening apology for his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In a town hall meeting with employees, Gates admitting to 2 affairs with Russian women and what he says about the photos of him in the Epstein files. Here's Pierre Thomas.
That's right.
Tonight, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates revealing more damaging information about his personal life and admitting to a series of stunning lapses in judgment in building a relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I want to know what year did he talk to him after he was convicted? That's a good year. If you talk to him after 2009, I feel like you're definitely a chomo.
The fallout growing as Gates was pressed by employees at a Gates Foundation town hall. According to the Wall Street Journal, which revealed audio of the meeting, Gates told employees it was a huge mistake to spend time with Epstein. He acknowledged that his relationship with Epstein began after Epstein was convicted of soliciting a minor, and he claimed that he, one of the wealth...
It convicted... Okay, so you started hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted of raping a minor? Okay, I think you need to wood chipper for Bill. Who says wood chipper for Bill Gates? Man, it's parallelish here. I think we need a wood chipper. We need some kind of wood chipper emoji for the members, for channel for Sky City Rebels. We need a wood chipper emoji. Maybe it should just be maybe just a blade or something. I don't know. What should we do? A pile, a bloody pile, just a bloody pile. That would be like maybe not a log, but just a bloody pile. It looks like a bloody poop emoji. That would be, I think, a good wood chipper emoji, because that's what people look like after they go into the wood chipper, right? Or how about just a wall, like against the wall? How about he should join the Against the Wall Club. Oh, look at that. Get against the wall club, Mr. Gates. You just won yourself a Up Against the Wall club, Mr. Gates. So get up against the wall.
Men in the world did not properly research Epstein's background that would have revealed his sordid past. Knowing what I know now makes it, 100 times worse.
Who's with me on the wood chipper thing? He fucking gets, I had no idea. You were friends with him after he was convicted. Don't tell me you had no idea. What are these people? This is the thing. This is the same shit all the Nazis. We had no idea what was happening. I had no idea. It's funny. I've been to Belsen. That was one of the real bad ones. Bergen-Belsen. I've been there. I've been to Dachau, which is near Nuremberg. I've been to Auschwitz. And people keep saying, we had no idea. Bullshit. It's right near town. It's just outside of town. You're telling me you don't know what's going on just outside of town? That none of you guys go on long walks and smell the burning flesh? We thought they were just having a barbecue. I mean, it smells just like Lucille's. We thought it was just... Well, we knew they were burning bodies, but we thought it was, not that many bodies. We knew Jeffrey Epstein was buying and selling children and that he was a convicted child rapist, but no, I didn't know it was as bad as, it turned out to be. Once it's won, That's too many.
Acknowledged his association probably helped Epstein rehabilitate his image, and he revealed other damning specifics, saying the men flew together on a private jet and that they hung out in Germany, France, New York, and Washington.
Wow.
Gates was adamant that he never witnessed any criminal activity.
I never saw anything go wrong. He just seemed like an up and up guy to me. We hung out all the time. I had no idea. What did you talk about, Mr. Gates? What kind of conversations did you have with Jeffrey Epstein? Just run-of-the-mill stuff? You talk about baseball? Did you talk about the baseball? Is that what you talked about, you weird little fucking nerd? What the hell do you think Bill Gates was talking about with Jeffrey Epstein? What did they have in common? This nerd who dropped out of Harvard to start a massive organization called Microsoft that he stole. Like, he's a fucking larcenous bastard himself. He stole Windows. He stole MS-DOS. Like, the guy... And, by the way, he's not a self-made man. He was going to Harvard. His daddy was one of the top executives of IBM. People think of Bill Gates like he's this, like, I worked in a garage and I fucking figured out how computers work. No. His daddy worked for IBM. He was going to Harvard. He bought DDoS for like $50 or something stupid. And then he stole Windows from the boys like Steve Jobs and Wozniak. So that guy's hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. What do you think they talked about? Football? They talk about what do you think they talked about saving the world? What do you think they talked about in 2012 after Jeffrey Epstein had been convicted of child rape? What do you think they had in common?
But Gates did acknowledge he had affairs with 2 Russian women. And Gates also addressed these photos, saying there were pictures Epstein asked him to take with his assistants.
Yeah, I was just taking pictures with the assistants, that's all. Yeah.
Ex-wife recently saying Gates needs to answer questions.
Those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me. Well, and I am so happy to be away from all the muck.
David, Gates' indiscretions contributed to the...
Just know, if you are a Trump supporter, you're a Bill Gates supporter. If you're a Trump supporter, you're an Epstein supporter. If you're a Trump supporter, you're a Prince Andrew supporter. If you're a Trump supporter, you're a Bill Clinton supporter. Don't tell me you hate Bill Clinton, but you love Donald Trump, because they're the same guy. Jeffrey Epstein said that they were the same dude. They had the same superpower. They could walk into any room and talk to a woman no matter how fuggo she was. If she was fat and ugly, it didn't matter, said Jeffrey Epstein. That Donald Trump and Bill Clinton could walk up to that woman and make her feel like the most beautiful woman in the room. They had a superpower, according to Jeffrey Epstein. These men. That's what he loved about them. He loved that they were so powerful over women. They had so much charisma, Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, and that they were such great friends. They were like wingmen for each other. This is Jeffrey Epstein. This is what he said about his great friends, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. If you're friends, if you support one, you support the other. Donald Trump and Bill Clinton are the same fucking guy.
And you still fully intend to continue to be part of the Democratic Party no matter what?
We've talked about this.
I know we have.
It's like the numbers bear it out. I vote in the 90s%, that. I mean, you can look it up. It's a fact. I'm not changing the party, and I might clap for some things that I agree, but when you represent Pennsylvania, that's there. It's like, hey, we'd all love like a blue state, then you can really just have to talk to one side. But for me, it's a special responsibility if you represent Pennsylvania that, we have to find a way forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question there really is about the reality that there are some Democrats that are considering challenging you in your race, potentially should you, of course, decide to run for re-election. In a potential re-election, would you want President Trump's endorsement in Pennsylvania?
What I'm saying, it's like anyone's entitled, but it's very strange. If anyone is a Democrat, I'm not sure. It's like the guy that flipped a red.
How come the Democrats and Republicans, how come the Republicans don't bitch about this guy not wearing a suit, but they bitched about Zelensky not wearing a suit? Are you going to wear a suit? How come you don't wear a suit? Could you own a suit? Can you just wear a suit? No. I only wear black hoodies. This guy will be the first one they give an involuntary vasectomy to because he's got mental illness. This will be the first guy. This is the first guy on the list, John Fetterman. That's it.
Seat. And someone now, it's like now my record is solid Democrat. So, whatever's possible. So for me,
Ooh, Billy Talent. Again, every comment that you leave belies your ignorance and stupidity, and it really is an embarrassment. You obviously aren't American. It doesn't matter who you voted for. No matter who you voted for. I remember when Hillary Clinton voted. When she ran. When Hillary Clinton ran for office and people voted for her or didn't vote for her, the people who voted for her didn't call themselves Clinton supporters after the election. You weirdos. What is it with you goddamn Nazis? All you cultists. I'm a Trump supporter. Like, when Barack Obama won, no one was like, I'm a Obama supporter during the presidency. That ain't normal. You're not supposed to do that. That ain't normal. Once they become president, their job is to serve you. I understand that you're a supporter during the election because you want to get your boy elected, right? You believe in whatever. I don't know. You love racism, or you just love whatever bullshit he tells you. You bought what he's selling. And now you're a Trump supporter. Great. After the election, when he becomes president, that's when he's supposed to support you, not the other way around. You see, this is how you get real Hitlery shit happening, because all of a sudden, you're no longer supporting the country. You no longer care about the United States of America. You care about Donald Trump. You support Trump. You're a Trump supporter. You're not an American. You're not even a Republican. You're a MAGA. You're a MAGger. That's what you are. You've now got this identity. It doesn't matter. We are post-evidence, post-facts. You don't care that facts don't care about your feelings because all you got is feelings. Because your identity is Trump supporter. You've lost your identity. You no longer have a personal identity other than, I support Donald Trump. Well, what about all this evidence you don't care about? What about this evidence that he's a chomo? I support him. Must have had a good reason raping those 12-year-olds. This is how this goes. This is what they said about Hitler. I'm a Hitler supporter. I mean, Heil Führer. Heil Führer. This is what you do. And then you could chant USA, USA, USA anytime someone says something that you don't like, and it's the same thing as going la 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 la. You just might as well be doing the same thing. USA, USA, USA. Anytime someone says something you don't like, you are a creep. You're a goddamn Nazi. And my grandfather, he killed Nazis. I'm a third generation Antifa.
where I'm at, here we are. Don't we all want the kind of Democrat that can flip a seat? That's the one thing that.
Like, I don't care who you voted for. People like, are you saying this about all Trump voters? No, don't care about who you voted for. I do not give a shit what you did November 5th, 2024. I don't care. I wish you did something different, but I don't care. If you're calling yourself a Trump supporter today, you are also a Clinton supporter, also an Epstein supporter. You are an accomplice after the fact to the cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, of Donald Trump's crimes, of these billionaires' crimes, Les Wexner and Brunel and Prince Andrew. All these guys led a trafficking ring, and you are part of it, because you were covering it up after the fact and supporting those who are doing the cover-up. That's it. If you call yourself a Trump supporter, you put on that stupid Elmer Fudd hat, says "Make America Great Again" on top of it. It's so stupid. You're nothing better than a child rapist. You're no better than they are.
It matters. There's no drama, who's going to be in California or in Massachusetts. Where it is and the states that really matter about the big dance, they all come down to those specific kinds of states. And now someone, in Morning Consult a couple weeks ago, I'm up 15 points. I mean, that's so I think,
enough.
yeah. So
Fair enough. And of course, that big, 2028 could come all the way down to just to Pennsylvania. Senator John Fetterman, thank you.
I hope they primary John Fetterman. When is John Fetterman up for election again? When will John Fetterman's term be up? He'll be up for election in 2028. All right, we got to wait 2 more years. I wonder what will happen to John Fetterman. What do you think? Do you think John Fetterman will still have a job in 2029? What do you think? I'm curious. Morning Joe is on.
President Trump's record-long State of the Union address featured a number of claims about the U.S. economy, including repeated statements about inflation.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting 13-year-olds. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting 13-year-olds. That's Donald Trump. The stupid red chomo hat. That stupid chomo hat makes me sick to my stomach. You're embarrassment. You're like pedophilic. You're like pedophilic Elmer Fudd's. You fucking chomos.
Job
Wood chipper.
manufacturing, growth, and what he believes to be a potential income tax replacement. Let's bring in right now former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Ratner with a fact check. Steve, I noticed yesterday that when I would look at focus group dials, where they dial whether they support or they oppose what the president's saying, agree or disagree, there are a couple of things that always made the numbers go down. Interestingly enough, whenever he talks about America being in a golden age, the dials went down because people don't feel like they're in a golden age. Whenever he talked about how well the economy was doing, strongest ever, those numbers, those dials.
Never forget that Adolf Hitler promised that if you just get rid of the trans people and the gay people and the communist people and the Roma people and the black people and the Jewish people and all the people, the communist people and the Antifa people, if you get rid of all of them, then we'll have a golden age. We're in the golden age of Germany, everybody. It's here. Can't you feel it? You're in the golden age of America. Do you feel it? Don't you feel it? Well, if you're not in a golden age, against the wall. Get up against the wall.
Would go down. Same thing with tariffs. And it just went back to Ronald Reagan, who, as you know, would famously say, when your next door neighbor is out of a job, well, that's a recession. When you're out of a job, it's a depression. For a lot of people, they're just not feeling like this is anywhere close to being a golden age, in part because inflation is about where it was when Joe Biden left office. And why don't we begin with inflation? I want to play for you, Steve, what the president had to say about inflation on Tuesday.
When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a
Billy Talent, once again, you're a moron. I did this show during Biden's administration, and I talked about Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about all you stupid chomos, and now you defend them. You defend chomos. I've always hated chomos. I've always said they should be in a wood chipper or something of the like, up against the wall club. Put them up against the wall. I don't like them. So you like them, though. You defend them. I have a long record. I've been doing this show for a while. I've been saying for a long time, I've hated Joe Biden since I was 9 years old. I hated Joe Biden before you even knew who Joe Biden was, you loser. All you Johnny-come-latelys. Oh, you liked Biden. No, I did not. Go fuck yourself. You could get into the wood chipper for all I care, you stupid chomos. You are no better than they are. You're no better. You are a Bill Clinton and Donald Trump supporter.
nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels. Today, our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before.
It's roaring.
Steve,
it's like the roaring 20s.
Anybody that actually gets out of bed in the morning and accidentally sees news for more than 3 seconds understands that inflation was not at record levels when Donald Trump took office, and inflation is not plummeting now. Why don't you give us the details of those?
Let's look at some charts, shall we?
Well, first of all, Joe, I can't compete with that set of clips that you lit in with. That was really something special. But the other incredible thing is that Trump keeps saying the same things over and over again, and people like me get up here and correcting him with like facts over and over again.
Facts?
He keeps saying them as if somehow he can make them true. So we can start with.
They don't care about facts because their identity is Trump supporter. They don't care about facts. But let's look at some facts. They don't care about your feelings, Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Inflation down here. Trump inherited not the worst inflation in history by any stretch of the imagination. If you go back in here in the Biden administration, it hit 9%. And you can see by the time Trump showed up, inflation was below 3%, depending upon which measure you look at. Trump looks at the CPI, which is this pink line. By that measure, inflation came down a little bit at the end of last year. The Federal Reserve, however, thinks there's a more accurate measure of inflation, an index called the PCE. That's what they look at. And by that measure, inflation is actually up. And you can, in fact, almost see Liberation Day and then everything that happened after with the tariffs and so forth.
Look at that. Luberution do. Ding dang do. Looks like we get a Luberution do. And look at that. Inflation was plummeting under Joe Biden. And then Donald Trump did Luberution do. And look at that. He lubed you up and went to town. What do you know? He fleeced you, you suckers.
Saying he inherited the worst inflation is completely absurd. To say he brought inflation down is almost nearly as absurd. But let's also talk about growth and the best economy ever and all this stuff. So Trump claims that the economy is roaring thanks to him. But in fact, it is not roaring as fast as it was roaring under Joe Biden the last few years. It grew 2.2% last year. We're at a 2.4%, 3.4%, a smaller number, and then a huge number after we came out of COVID. Why?
Well, a smaller number and a huge number. We're talking about growth, right? Well, of course, it was a huge growth after COVID that Donald Trump completely fumbled. That was in 2020. You see the one that's below the line right there? That was 2020, the last year Donald Trump was in office, and everything sucked because he sucks. And then, of course, the huge number is just coming out of COVID. Of course, anyone with half a brain could get that huge number. And then not very much growth. The second one, of course, that one's small. And then look, wow, Joe Biden, what do you know? It's almost like, that bipartisan shit he did. Looks like it was working.
Is this happening? It's happening because I think in part there's a lot of uncertainty around there about Trump's policies, around tariffs, around immigration, which is an important part of our labor force. And so when that happens, business and consumers kind of pull back. You had government shutdown in the fourth quarter. That didn't help. But all in all, he can't really brag about a great first year when it comes to growth.
And just to underline again on inflation, he keeps saying he inherited the worst inflation in American history, not even in the ballpark of the worst inflation in American history. Let's also talk about jobs, labor. President Trump's team touting what he said is record labor and manufacturing growth, claiming factories are, quote, pouring into the United States. Let's listen.
More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Moving forward, factories, jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into
trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions, huh?
the United States of America, because we finally have a president who puts America first.
Steve, what's the truth about that?
The
Well, he found a way to sort of slide through the truth slightly here, but nonetheless, I think the picture is very different than what he portrayed. So let's start with the fact that job growth.
All right, so yeah, I love this question. Is it bipartisan when both sides are corporate lackeys? Well, yeah. I mean, you got to get. Here's the thing, man. American politics is a fucking joke, man. We're all fucked. But listen, if you do want to get something done, you're gonna have to have both sides do what's called politics. You got to have negotiations and conversations. It takes a while because the people of, I don't know, Texas got different goals than the people of, I don't know, Minnesota. They got different ideas, different goals, different amount of the piece of the pot. They want a little more pork coming their way. They call it pork barrel, right? They're making deals. They're saying, hey, yeah, I'll make sure that this shit happens for Texas if you make sure that my people over in Minnesota get taken care of, if you know what I mean. That's how politics works. But recently, the people aren't the Congress isn't doing that. Yes, they're owned by the corporations, but that's old news, man. The corporations bought and sold this country years ago, back with the Citizens United decision. Because guess what? The Supreme Court's generally, mostly owned by corporations as well. But right now, the president thinks that he's in charge of everything. And he's not. Unless the Congress lets him. And they are. Mostly. But the judges are starting to push back a little bit. We might see a little something. But back to the point, if you actually want to get something done, you're going to have to do it the slow, hard way. You can't just do it rule by decree, like the executive order bullshit, which is no different than a monarchy or a dictator, a Führer. I declare that we will make the final solution. This is the way you rule? No. Congress is the one who rules us. We send our people to Congress, and we fight it out. It's not that fucking hard to understand American government. It is if you're Donald Trump, because he thinks that being a president is the end-all be-all, but it isn't. It's not. No one is supposed to have too much power. That's the point. That's why we did it this way. That's why we continue to do it this way. That's why people like Donald Trump would chipper. That's why.
Under President Biden was 122,000 jobs per month added, and you can see that average right here. Under Trump, the average is 15,000 jobs per month. So yeah, he added some jobs, but a fraction of what his predecessor did. And moreover, under Trump, the unemployment rate is up, meaning there are more Americans out of work. And in addition to that, the number of Americans who are unemployed.
Don't forget also the Third Reich was built on American industrialists, right? We went there to fleece them after World War I. Our companies like Coca-Cola and Ford and all these companies went there in order to make a lot of money after World War I and supported people like Hitler who were leasing out slaves to them. I mean, I can't believe Mercedes is still called Mercedes. I'm surprised that they still allow it to be called Mercedes. It's shocking to me, actually. Like, they use slave labor, Jewish slave labor. Hitler enslaved people and then leased them out to Mercedes in order to build cars during the war. The fuck? And we still allow them to do business under that same name? Shocking to me that we allow that.
For a long period of time, more than 26 weeks, is now a quarter of our labor force.
Yeah, Volkswagen, the national car, or the car of the people, exactly. Bayern, or yeah, Bavarian Motor Works. Bayern, Bayer. You're talking about like Bayer, the company, like the aspirin company. Yeah, Volkswagen also. Volkswagen, which was designed by the air-cooled engine, designed by this guy named Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, used slave labor in order to fulfill this golden age promise that they were going to have a car in every garage for every German family. That's why it's called Volkswagen. Like, I have a degree in German. We studied this shit. Volkswagen, car of the people. And don't even get me started with Kraft durch Freude. Man. Anyway, it's a whole thing. They used slave labor to build those brands during the war, and then after the war, we allowed them to continue to do business. Like, and I'm not saying that those companies are still like evil. I mean, they're still evil companies, in like the way all evil companies are evil companies. But like, we didn't even make them change their names. Like, we just allowed them to continue. Which is bonkers to me. Like, you'd think that we would at least like force them to rebrand or something. But no. Like, the German ovens, like, that made bakery ovens, like food ovens, were the same company that made the ovens they put Jewish people in, and they put their logo on the goddamn machines. Their logos were on the machines that were there to incinerate human bodies, and we allowed them to stay in business afterwards. Jesus Christ. Bro.
Unemployment among youths just getting out of college looking for their first job is now around 10%. So to proclaim a great jobs market is hard to say. And then he talked about factories coming back like never before. So let's look at what's happening compared to never before. So under Biden, actually, factory growth jumped up enormously. We passed the what's called the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really more a stimulation of manufacturing. We passed a very important...
There you go. Inflation Reduction Act is a stimulation of manufacturing, which is a bipartisan effort to sell out more of the American people to corporations. But it did affect inflation properly, very well. It did a good job. But it's still you still got fucked. Don't worry, they still were fucking you. But you know, inflation went down, so you got lower prices a little bit for a while.
CHIPS Act to bring semiconductor production back into this country. Under Trump, we have done none of that, and in fact, manufacturing spending has been tailing off. So rather than factories rushing back here, we are actually spending fewer dollars on manufacturing construction, and we are employing fewer manufacturing workers. Manufacturing employment is actually down since Trump took office.
And that's something the Wall Street Journal has been reporting on extensively, the slump in manufacturing jobs, in part because of tariffs. So let's talk about
tariffs. Yeah. All right. So I mean, don't forget, I don't want to just pick on the Germans. I mean, Coca-Cola, an American company, it developed Orange Fanta for the Nazi market. Like, they had all sorts of ads for Coca-Cola and also Fanta with swastikas on it, German soldiers drinking about the final solution, having a Coke and shit. Now, they've scrubbed a lot of that. It's hard to find a lot of that shit these days, but it used to be in the early days of the internet where people were sharing stuff on the internet without being censored as heavily. You could see all of that, all the ads against because Coca-Cola also has murdered union organizers and stuff in South America. So there's always been a very large contingent of people trying to tell everyone, wait a second, everybody, Coca-Cola is evil. They bought up all of the local cola people, all the people that were making soda pop. They bought them all out and put them out of business. It's really evil shit. Coca-Cola did really horrible, dirty shit during the war until America told them they weren't allowed to be there anymore. And America said, you're not allowed to do business in Nazi Germany. So they finally left. But if they had not been told that, they would still be doing it. They would still be there. I mean, you could still buy an iPhone apparently in Moscow, even though it's against the law to sell iPhones in Moscow. They still figure out a way to get iPhones. Like, owned by corporations. We were bought and sold by corporations long time ago, man. Long time ago. And the more closely aligned your corporations are with your government, the closer you approach something like full-blown fascist dictatorship. Because the goals of the corporation, the goals of the government are no longer discernible. And you are left out in the cold. No one's there to serve you. The government is no longer regulating the corporation. The corporation is dumping harmful chemicals in your rivers and streams. And the corporation just wants to make money off of you. It wants to pay you whatever they want to pay you, and there's no one to protect you, which is what the government's role is to protect you against the corporation, to regulate, so that they can still make money while you still survive and are treated fairly. Have your rights acknowledged. That's the idea of our form of this bullshit, weird way we do capitalism in this country.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. So let me say a couple things about what we're announcing today, and then I'm going to kick over to Dr. Oz, and then we're going to take a few questions. So as a lot of you know, there are way too many Americans who are being defrauded by very bad actors in our society, people who take the goodwill and the trust of the American taxpayer, and they decide to use it against us. They decide to make themselves rich instead of allowing these programs that are set up to make it easier for people.
Donald Trump? Are you talking about Donald Trump making himself rich off the American taxpayer?
To take care of their families, to make it
talking about Elon Musk making himself rich off the American taxpayer?
Easier for autistic kids to get.
Are you talking about? What are you talking about? Getting rich off the American taxpayer? Who's getting rich off the American taxpayer? Peter Thiel? Bill Gates? Who?
The after-school services they need to make it easier for people to get the health care that they need. And we are going to start very aggressively in the administration cracking down on the people and the organizations that are defrauding Americans. So we're announcing today that we have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure that the state of Minnesota takes its obligations seriously to be good stewards of the American people's tax money. Now, what is this?
There you go. They're stopping Medicaid in Minnesota because politically they don't like Minnesota. This will result in the death of many, many people. Stopping Medicaid means how the hell are you going to pay for old people's homes? My father has dementia. He's in a home. He went there last month. Actually, this month. He went there at the beginning of this month, and we had to pay a bunch of money to put him into a home because no one can take care of my father, and he's on Medicaid. You have to pay for a whole month on your own, first of all, just to get him in, and then you hope that Medicaid will kick in after he's there for a full month, and they decide, yes, this is the only option for him. He must be in a home, and then Medicaid can kick in. But if you're in Minnesota, luckily my father's in Texas. The administration loves Texas. It'll be fine. But Medicaid in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, the whole state of Minnesota, all of those old people who are in homes because they have dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever, incapable of taking care of themselves, that will not be available to them. But wait, you might say, didn't they pay for it? Isn't that their money? Didn't they pay for this? Didn't we all pay? Didn't every single American pay so that the people of Minnesota and indeed all Americans can have Medicaid? Medicaid fraud is nearly non-existent. That's absolutely right. But they're not talking about Medicaid fraud. No. They're saying fraud in general. They want Minnesota to somehow stop all fraud, even though dozens of people have been arrested. There's like, I think, over a dozen people now in jail over this fraud thing that was happening after COVID. It's funny who goes to jail for these things, by the way. And I know a lot of people that were defrauding the government during COVID, but they didn't go to jail. I knew a lot of people that defrauded the government during COVID. None of them that went to jail. There's a lot of people going to jail in Minnesota over this fraud case, and it's nowhere near $19 billion anyway. But it doesn't matter. They're in jail. There's more investigations happening. So clearly they are taking it seriously. But J.D. Vance, in his new role as fraud czar, he's just going to hit him where it hurts. And you know where it's going to hurt the most? Old people. That's what Medicaid is for. Old people and poor people. So you'll have old people and poor people in the street dying in the gutters because there's no place else to put them. They won't be able to go to the hospital, and they won't be able to go stay in their old people's homes. This is how it is. This is it. He's kicking them off of Snap, yeah. This is it. Mr. Vance must be enslaving his wife as he is a fascist and racist. Man, did you see her at the State of the Union? Poor Usha Vance. She looks like she's like, blink twice, lady, blink twice. It looks bad. Anyway, this is, again, watch any of the movies or documentaries about Nazi Germany. Please get a refresher. I'm not asking you to read like a big tome like Rise and Fall of the Third Reich or anything. I'm just asking you, take 90 minutes to 2 hours, watch yourself a movie about the Nazis. Because this is the type of shit they did. You were politically inconvenient, and so they take away your food. You're politically inconvenient, so they take away the people whom you represent. They take away their food. They kill. This is killing. This is a death warrant. This is, without a doubt, going to kill people. Which makes J.D. Vance and Donald Trump murderers of American citizens. They're declaring war on American citizens. It's pretty messed up, right? All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Skyjack Morgan. I'm an independent news and culture commentator, free speech and critical thinking advocate. Thank you so much for joining me. Illegitimate non-carborundum. Don't let the bastards grind you down, because I need you, we need each other, and the animals need us most of all. Become a channel member, a Sky City Rebel, and you'll get exclusive content, including the stream that's about to start right now called The Afterglow, where we get a little personal, get a little deeper, talk about some things that I can't talk about right here, some serious stuff sometimes some funny things, but most of all, we try to connect as human beings and maybe celebrate humanism a little bit. We even have a secret poetry club there, a not-so-secret poetry club. You also get tons of extra content and streams, and a guitar recital every month. So, damn it. They're killing people, everybody. They're killing us. They're killing American citizens, people who paid for the privilege of going to the hospital when they're sick or being taken care of when they're old. How bad do you think it's going to get? All right. I want to say thank you again. And Godspeed. Godspeed, rebels. Please take care of each other. Create mutual aid. Join a club. Meet up with somebody. Meet up with your neighbors. Get out there and talk to people. Actual human beings. Create mutual aid. Create mutual defense. Because no one's going to stick up for you. The government is not going to help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so friggin' much.